Something like that. What's up, YouTube? How we doing today? Long awaited. Turn this off. Sorry about that. Here we are. Long awaited review of my 1982 Kalamazoo made Leo's Les Paul. I just wanted to give you a couple of tones. I'm doing a little different today because there's banging going on next door. I figured no one's going to care if I fire up the 1-watt Marshall. Going crazy today. We're pulling out all the stops for you guys because I love you. So yeah, this is a Leo's Les Paul made in the waning days at the Kalamazoo factory. Talked a little bit about some of the history of New Orleans era guitars in my last video. And today I just want to touch on, real briefly, some of the features of this guitar. It is completely stock. It has been, it's got the heavier tailpiece on it. It's got the stock bridge. What I did with this bridge, though, this one is a ABR1. It's not a Nashville. When I got it, though, the saddles the saddles weren't lined up with the pole pieces very well. And what I did, I bought some new saddles, and I notched them properly, and I put them in, and I got the tone to be a lot clearer. I really think it made a much more significant difference than I thought it would. These are Tim Shaw PAFs. There are some threads that you can look at when you're looking at guitars. When I got this, actually, I thought it had the Timshaws in it, and it turns out they weren't. So I found a pair from a reputable guy, and I put new ones in. But you got to be careful because there's tons of pickups from this era, and if you don't do your homework, it's easy to buy something that's not a Timshaw. He made a bunch of different pickups. There's Dirty Fingers. Some of them have the stampings that look like Timshaw, so you've got to be really careful. The best way to find out what the pickups you have are is to open them up and look at the side of the pickup. It should have white spacers, not maple spacers, and the magnet should be a little bit rough and a little bit thick, a little bit thicker than you normally see. There's pictures online. You can, if you're ever interested, you ever need to know, you can take a look. I put a bunch up. It's got the proper cutaway. Binding in the cutaway is uniform, and you can see. You really aren't going to be able to see it on the video, but I can tell you that there's a lighter piece of red here in the cutaway, and that's the maple top, and the top is thicker than the binding, and that's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to see that little bit. These have a really interesting method of doing the serial numbers. You can see that is an L1, and it's got double row cloisons, but well, double line. I'm sorry, double line, single row, right? I think that's how you. Only one row here for the buttons, but two lines there. The headstock is interesting. The Gibson is a little different than you normally see, and these features were done to prevent people from mistaking them as originals. They were worried about counterfeiters, and so they purposely made the Gibson font a little different than it normally is. This one has a pretty cool, I think is one of the coolest. I've never been a fan of bursts, and this is the first one I ever had, and I because I just love the way that you could see the wood grain, like the streaks, and then the flame goes the other way, and I just thought it was really, really cool. It's very cool in person, and it's not a super crazy flame, so it doesn't seem gaudy to me. I really like it. All the hardware has a nice patina, and everything is pretty much original on it, except I did. That's not true. What you heard from the guitar was new wiring. I did go in and change out the pots. I have some Mojo Tone. They've got like a vintage taper pot that they sell, and I use those on the volumes. I didn't like them on the tone. I found that I didn't feel like I got enough control on the tone, so I went to a standard audio taper from Art of Tone. The Art of Tone, they sell stuff on eBay. He's also got a website where you can get like slightly better prices. And I've gotten a bunch of stuff from him, and I found him to ship quickly and have decent prices, and the quality of the stuff was really good. So he had some 550K pots that I used audio taper for the tones, and then it's the Mojo Tone for the volumes. And yeah, I've got it wired up nicely with good, a good wire, and not because I'm on the bandwagon for it. Just I just wanted to try it. I put in some, I think they're the Mojo Tone paper and oil. They call them. I don't know what they call them. Whatever the ones that they sell on the Mojo Tone site that are paper and oil caps. Those are the ones that are in it. And I'm pretty sure that you can get away with orange drops or anything that has a good that has a rated value. It's really about the value and how closely spec'd. So how close in value to the whatever it says in the capacitor, is that actually what it reads? And that's what's really important, is getting the right value that you want. After that, I think they mostly sound the same. But, you know, spend as much as you want, whatever, I don't care. So yeah, so I replaced the wiring in it. So it's, okay. I also took out, alright, guitars of this era have some shielding built in that I haven't ever found useful. They'll have a kind of cup, like a tin cup in here, in this jack, and here all of the pots are usually on a little metal plate. I took the metal plate out. I took that tin cup thing out. So it doesn't have those two things. Everything was grounded properly though, and so there's some modifications electronics wise. But the pickups are the stock pickups. You're hearing the stock bridge and the stock tailpiece, the stock studs, and these are the tuners that came with it. So, you know, when you're looking online, I talked in the last video about making sure that you try to find reputable books, because there are people who are really well-meaning and bright people who assemble articles online about Les Pauls and things, but not all of the information is always 100% correct. You know, what's interesting is when you start talking to people about older guitars, you know, everyone remembers things, you know, the way that they remember them, right? So it's helpful when you're looking for sources to make sure that, this goes for anything in life, by the way, trying to get a diverse set of viewpoints on a situation. That's what I really like about that Rob Lawrence book, is that he interviewed all the principal parties for all these different instruments. So there was the strings and things, Les Paul. Now I'm talking about the different, before they started doing reissues, these dealer reissues. So there were a bunch of dealers around the country that started ordering Les Pauls. So Jimmy Wallace ordered some, Strings and Things ordered some, the place in New Jersey, Guitar Trader, I think that's right, and Leo's Music. There's also, there's a couple others even more rare and fancy. You know, you hear a lot about the Guitar Trader ones because Guitar Trader had like a pamphlet, a flyer that they sent out. They had a mailer that they did. And so you can go back and you can look at the text of these mailers, and it's a great kind of resource and archive that everyone has access to. So you're able to kind of see from their perspective, you know, what they were doing and their hype about their guitars. And I don't say hype in a bad way. I just mean, you know, they're marketing for their guitars. So that ends up being a source of, you know, on the internet of people act like that's, excuse me, the gospel. But Rob Lawrence interviewed all the other players too, and so he kind of puts in perspective which ones came first, which ones came second. There was never any you know, we're picking out wood for these tops and someone else is getting the used ones. That didn't happen with any of them. What does change prices though is that the Guitar Trader ones, they took off some of this hardware, and on some of the guitars, in other words, there were much fewer of the Guitar Trader ones too. They took off some of the hardware and replaced it with original hardware from bursts. So some, like very few, very few, I don't know the exact number, I don't know if anyone does, but a handful of those got real PAFs, as well as the other hardware. Whereas the Leo's one shipped with the hardware they had. They were doing a Kalamazoo. So like I said, this is not a lightweight tailpiece. This is a wired ABR one, and these are the Tim Shaw PAF pickups. But other than that, you can go and you can look at pictures online. I found a few really good ones, and I've looked in detail even with the pickups out and everything, and the construction and all the details of the guitars look exactly the same. Well, this is at least between the Leo's Les Paul and the Guitar Trader Les Paul. The construction looks to be exactly the same. The main difference seems to be the headstock, how they, on the Guitar Trader the label here, the decal, is moved up closer to the truss rod. And that was, again, something they did for the counterfeiter thing, but the Gibson script is correct. And their serial numbers are a little different. They use more like a standard, I think, 9, and then serial number, I'm pretty sure. But Rob Lawrence does a great job of talking about all these differences, and you can find other really cool Les Pauls in that book.